Hi friends, this is Bakappa. So far you have seen how to get started with Cypress and how to use the Cypress Studio to record and playback the automation test. And you have seen how to create the first Cypress automation test, how to create the logs, how to run your test on the different browsers, and how to run your test in the headless mode. And also you have seen how to use the IntelliSense autocode completion, and you have seen how to write the different ways of assertions, different ways of selectors or the CSS selectors in the Cypress, and how to use the XPath in the Cypress, and how to work with drop downs and iframes. And also you have seen how to scroll up and down in the Cypress. And also you have seen how to implement hooks in the Cypress and how to repeat a particular automation test to check the stability of an application, to check the stability of the automation script. And also you have seen how to auto retry failed automation test and how to generate the HTML report in the Cypress. And in this Cypress tutorial full course, chapter 4, we are going to see what is data driven testing and how to implement the data driven testing in the Cypress, where I have discussed how to read the test data from the JSON file and how to pass the multiple sets of test data to the automation test. And next, we are going to see what is page object model and how to implement page object model in the Cypress automation framework. And at the end, we are going to see how to record the automation test execution in the Cypress. In this Cypress tutorial, we are going to see how to perform data-driven testing in the Cypress automation framework. So here I'm creating two tutorials on the data-driven testing. The first part is on how to perform the data-driven testing using the JSON file. And in the part 2, we are saying how to pass the multiple sets of test data to the test cases. So let's discuss part 1, how to pass the test data from the JSON file. So let's look at the manual scenario first. So here I will go to the google.com and I will search for the JavaScript by tester stock. And after that, so simply I will take the some part of this URL and I will open the another tab and I'll paste it here. So this is a URL what we are using. So we will navigate to the this URL and we will inspect the search text box and we will clear out the existing text and we will enter the new text here, and after that we are clicking on the search icon. So basically in this search text box we are entering the test data from the JSON file. So here I will navigate to the VS Code. So let's write a simple script that will read the test data from the JSON file and it will pass on to the automation test. So inside the E2E folder, I'm creating a one file called data driven testing1 dot cy.js. That's it guys. So let's create a test suite first. So by using the describe, we can create a test suite. So here we have to add the suite name as data driven test suite. That's it. And after that I will put the comma and here I will add the arrow function and I will open the curly brace and I will close the curly brace. Sorry guys. Now in the similar way, let's add the test by using the it keyword. So here I will say it and here I will add the test name as data driven test. So here I'll add the test 1 because in the part 2 we will add the test 2. That's it guys. Now I will add the comma and then here I will add the arrow function. Then I will open the brace and I will close it. Now firstly let's navigate to the URL by using the cy command. So here I'm adding cy dot visit, and in the single quotation we can add the URL. So let's take the URL first. So this is the URL where we have to navigate. And after navigating to that particular URL, we have to identify this particular search text box. Simply inspect the element, and if you see here, which has the tag name as text area and which has the multiple attributes. So here I'm using the type equal to search. So here I'm firstly pressing the Control F, and then I'm adding the tag name first, text area, followed by that in the square brackets I'm adding the attribute name and then value. So here I'll say search. That's it. So we are able to identify the search text box. So it is highlighting that particular element, and also here you can see that it is matching with only one element. Simply copy the selector, and here we have to use the cy dot get. Let's add the selector here. So we want to clear the first text here. So that's the reason I'm calling the method called clear. So after clearing the text from the search text box, we want to enter the data. So I will use the same element by using that. So here I'm calling another method called type. I want to type the some data. So as of now, I will hard code the value. Then in another few minutes, we will read the test data from the JSON file, and we will pass that particular data from the JSON file to this particular line. So here I will say API testing by tester stock. That's it, guys. Now, after entering the text, so we have to click on this particular search icon. So let's inspect the search icon as well. And if you see here, so let me refresh the page here, and then I will inspect the search icon. And if I go a little bit up here, so we have the one tag called button. So tag name is button here. And if you look at the attributes also, so there are multiple attributes. So here I'm using the attribute called type equal to submit. So let's add by using the tag name and attribute name, we are going to identify the search icon. So tag name is button. So let's add the button, followed by that. So we have to use the attribute name, and then we have to add the attribute value as submit. That's it, guys. So if you look at here, so it is matching with the search icon. So let's copy the selector, and then we have to click on this particular search icon by using the Cypress command. So let's use the cy.get, and here I will add the selector value, and then I will call to the click method. That's it, guys. Now let's validate this particular test in the Cypress test runner. Then we will create a simple test data file. So that's a JSON file, and we will add this particular test data in the JSON file, and we will read this data from the JSON file. So let's validate this test is working fine or not now. So here I will go to the test runner, and I will refresh the page. Then I will select the spec file here, what we have created just now. So if you see here, so we have created a data driven testing one. So our test is running currently. And if you see here, already it has cleared it, and also it has entered the API testing by tester stock. And also it has clicked on the search icon. And also here you can see the respective results also. Now let's create a simple JSON file under the fixtures folder. So if you see here, so already there is an existing file called example.json. So in the similar way, if you see the example.json file, so where it has specified only key name and respective value here, right? In the similar fashion, so let's create a one JSON file under the fixtures folder. So here I will right click on the folder and here I'll say new file. I will give the file name as data driven testing 1.json. That's it. So here I will open and close the flower brackets and then I will add the key and value. So here I'll say skill1 colon and I will add the value as JavaScript by testers talk and then I will add another key and value. So here I'll say key name as channel and here I will add the value as testers talk. That's it guys. So like this you can add n number of keys and respective values. So here I will do a small modification. So as we are already searching here with the JavaScript by tester stock, so I will pass the test data differently here. So here I'll say API testing by tester stock. So that's it guys. So our test data file is ready. Now I will go back to the our JavaScript spec file. So here I'm adding one hook called before. So inside the before I will add the name of the before code block as run before all test and then I will put the comma, then I will add the arrow function, then I will open the flower bracket and I will close it. So inside the before hook, so we are going to read the this particular JSON file and the test data, and finally we will be using the test data from the JSON file in the our automation test. So inside the before hook, what you need to write is, so cy dot, you need to call to the method called fixture. So inside the fixture you need to pass the file name. So simply I will take the file name here, that's it, and I will add it here. And after that, once you added the file name of the test data file, so simply call the another method called then, and here we will be saving this particular JSON file test data in the variable. So here I will say the variable name as JSON test data, and then I will add the arrow function, then I will open the flower bracket and I will close it. That's it guys. So here in this particular variable, that's the JSON data which has the test data of the JSON file. Now, so we have to assign this particular JSON data to the one of the variable. So that's the reason here I'm creating one variable called let test data. That's it. So simply I will assign this particular JSON data to the test data variable. So I will copy this variable name here and here I will assign the JSON data to the test data. That's it guys. Now by using the test data we can access the data which is there inside the JSON file. So simply we have to use the variable called test data dot key name. So I will copy the test data variable name and I will come back to the line number 17 where we are currently hard coding the test data. So simply I will delete the test data here and I will add the variable name dot. So here we have to add the key name. So in our case the key name is, so we want to pass the API testing by tester stock, right? So in this case key name is skill1 sorry. So simply I will pass the, after the test data dot, I will pass the key name here. That's it. And this time if I execute the test, right, it should pass the this particular test data to the automation test. Now let's run the test from the Cypress test runner. So here I will go to the test runner and I will click on the run all test. So this time we should be able to read the test data from the JSON file and also we should be able to pass the test data to the our automation code. So at the end, in the Google search text box, we are passing the API testing by tester stock, and also you can see the test status. It is working perfectly fine. Now this time, let us search with the postman by tester stock. So here I will update the test data as postman by tester stock. Again, I will rerun the Cypress test. So this time we should be able to search in the Google search box with the postman by tester stock. So if you see here, so our test is perfectly working fine. And also here you can see the test status also. Our test is getting passed. So this is how you can perform the data-driven testing in the Cypress automation framework. In this Cypress tutorial, we are going to see how to perform the data-driven testing with the multiple sets of test data. In the previous Cypress tutorial, I have discussed how to read the test data from the JSON file and how to pass the test data to the automation test. So this time we will see how to pass the multiple sets of test data to the automation test. So let me go to the VS Code, and before we do anything here, so let me explain you the manual scenario first. In the previous tutorial, we have automated the one flow. So we navigated to the this particular URL, and after that we are clearing the Google search text box, and here we are entering something again in the Google search text box, and then we are clicking on the search icon. So we'll see how to pass the multiple sets of test data in this particular search text box, and after that we are clicking on the search icon. So that is the manual flow, guys. So we'll see how to pass the multiple sets of test data in this text box. So that is the main goal of the data driven testing with the multiple sets of test data. So here simply I will copy the one JS file, that is data driven testing one, and I will paste it inside the UTE folder. So here I will rename the file as data driven testing 2.cy.js. So here I will rename the suite name as data driven testing. So data driven test suite 2, and in the similar way I will update the test name as data driven test 2. So I will delete all this stuff which is not required. So that's it, guys. So coming to the code side, so here we are navigating to the URL, and here we are clearing the search text box, and then we are entering the test data from the JSON file by using the test data dot key name, and then finally we are clicking on the search icon in the Google page. Now this is all about the test. Now let's create the test data, and we will come back to the data driven testing 2.cy.js file. So here I will go to the fixtures folder, and I will copy the JSON file which we have created in the previous session. So I will paste it in the same folder, and I will rename the file with the data driven testing 2.json file. So here I will open the data driven testing 2.json file. So previously we have added only one JSON object here. To add the multiple JSON object, so you need to add the square brackets before starting the JSON object. So this is nothing but the array of JSON objects. So every JSON object is separated by the comma. So here I will put comma, and I will copy the whole JSON object once again. So like this I will add another two JSON object. So firstly, in the Google search text box, we are searching with the postman by tester stock. So second time we are going to search with the API testing by tester stock, and third time we are going to search with the JavaScript by tester stock. So that's it, guys. So we are done with creating the three sets of test data. So here one JSON object is nothing but the one set of test data here. So that's it guys. So I'm going to close this particular file, and now I will come back to the data driven testing 2.cy.js file. So here what you need to do is, in this spec file, in the very first line, so here I'm declaring one variable called const json data, and for this variable I'm assigning the test data from this particular json file, that is the test data driven testing 2.json file. So how I can read that particular file is, it is very simple. So here I'm using the one keyword called required. So inside the required, I'm going to pass the 2 dot followed by slash, and we have to pass the folder name now. So our JSON test data file is present inside the fixtures folder. So that's the reason here I'm selecting the fixtures. So 2 dot is nothing but the current folder. And followed by that, we have to specify the our file name. So here I will get the file name by right clicking on the file name. So here I'll say rename, and I will select the file name, and I will add the file name over here. That's it guys. Now this particular variable, that's the JSON data, which has the all the test data from the this particular JSON file. Now we have to iterate one by one all these JSON objects by using the for each loop. So here I will go back to the spec file. So before the sorry guys. So before the our automation test, I'm writing one for each loop. So by using the JSON data, here I'm writing for each. So here I will simply delete this part, and after that, so after reading this particular test data, so I am going to store it in the one of the variable called test data. So that's it guys. Now this particular variable test data has the all the test data from the our JSON file. So simply I will take the our automation code, that is automation test, and I will put it inside the for each code block. So that's it guys. Now to access the data, so we have to use the this particular variable, that is a test data dot key name. If you look at the line number 13, so already we are using the test data variable dot key name. So this key name is present inside the our JSON test data file. If you look at here in the first JSON object, so we have the key name, and in the second JSON object we have the key name, and also we have the key name in the third JSON object also, right? So that's it guys. So this is what the code changes you need to do it in the spec file and about the test data. Now we will go back to the Cypress test runner, and this time in the first time it has to pass the any of this particular test data. So basically it will run the this one test three times. So first time it will pass the postman by tester stock, that means it will pass the first object, and second time it will pass the second JSON object, and in the third time it will pass the third JSON object. Now I will go back to the test runner, and let's refresh the page, and we will get the spec file here, and we will run the test once again. So if you look at here guys, so already it has created the three tests based on the number of sets test data we have in the JSON file. So firstly it is searching with the postman by tester stock in the Google search text box, and now it is running the same test with the second set of test data, and this time it is searching API testing by tester stock, and in the third time it is going to search with the JavaScript by tester stock. So this is how we can perform the data driven testing with the multiple sets of test data in the Cypress automation framework. In this Cypress tutorial, we are going to see how to implement page object model design pattern in the Cypress Automation framework. So let's understand why POM is required, why page object model is required in the Cypress Automation framework. For example, if you look at the below diagram, in the line number 7, we have added the one selector, and in the line number 11, line number 13, 15, and so on. And if you look at the selectors, right, so we are adding the selectors manually in the automation test only. So suddenly tomorrow developer comes and changes to the DOM. What happens? So all the DOM elements and tag details and attributes will be getting changed, right? So in that case, if you are having 100 automation tests, so you need to go through all the 100 automation tests and you need to update all these locators manually. So that will be a very tedious task for maintaining and managing the automation test. So that's the reason you need to use the page object model design pattern in the Cypress automation testing. So let's understand what is page object model first. So page object model is a design pattern to create a object repository for the web page elements. And for each web page, there will be a corresponding page class, and page class contains the all the web page elements of that particular page, and also it contains the methods which will perform the action on the web page elements. Say for example, we have the login page. So in that login page, so we have the username, password, and login button. So all these three elements will be stored in the single page called login page. And if I want to log in into the application, so I will be creating a simple method that will enter the username, password, and it will click on the login button. So this everything will be done in a single page called login page. So like this, based on your applications, you need to create a respective page classes, and you need to store all the web page elements, and also you need to implement the all the abstraction methods in the same page class. And coming to the advantages of using the page object model. So code will be more cleaner, and also it is easy to understand. And page object repository is independent of the automation test. And the third advantages of using the POM. So test script will be optimized because we have the abstraction methods in the page classes. And coming to the disadvantages of POM, that's the disadvantages of page object model, time and effort. And the second one is it is specific to the particular project. Say for example, I have implemented a page object model for the one of the project. So I cannot use that page object model in the other project. So that is the another disadvantage of using the page object model. Now let's look at the sample page object model pages and test how exactly it looks like in the Cypress automation framework. So if you look at the folder structure, so we have created a one folder called pages. Inside that, we have created a three JS file. One is homepage.js, second one is playlist page.js, and third page we have created result page.js. And also we have created a one sample page object model test here. And let's look at the skeleton of the page object model page. So this is a typical any page looks like. So here we have created a class called homepage, and inside that we are adding the elements which has the all the elements. And if you look at in the line number 8 and line number 12, so these are the two abstraction methods for the home page. So like this you can create a number of pages in the your project. And at the end we are using the model.exports, and we are assigning the current page object. So whenever I'm using this particular class in the, say for example, we have to use this particular page in the automation test. So simply I'm importing this particular home page, and this will returns me the object of the current page. So if I go down a little bit down, so here we have the sample page object model test here. So here we are importing the all the pages. And if you see here, by using the home page or result page, or by using the playlist page, so these are the reference variables. By using these reference variables, we are calling to the respective methods. If you look at in the line number 10, line number 13. So these are the some reference variables. By using the reference variables, simply we are calling to the respective page abstraction methods. And at the end, we are validating whether playlist title is same or not. So this is how you can create the page object model approach in the Cypress automation testing. So let's quickly look at the practical example of the page object model in the Cypress automation framework. Let's discuss the manual scenario first, and we will come back here and we will create all the pages, and also we will create the page object automation test. The manual scenario is very simple. So we are navigating to the youtube.com, and here we will search with the API testing by tester stock. Then we will get the one playlist, and we need to click on that particular playlist. And after that, once we go inside the playlist, we have to validate the playlist title. So in this scenario, right, so we have to create total 3 pages. One is, so this is a home page, and here I'm searching with the API testing by testers talk. So this is the result page, and in this result page we need to click on the API testing by testers talk, and that's it. And here we have to validate the title of this particular playlist. So now I will go back to the VS Code, and here we will create the first pages. So here I'm adding a one folder called pages, and inside the pages folder I'm adding 3 JS files. First one is homepage.js, and second one is result page.js, and the third one is playlist page.js. So that's it, guys. We have created all the 3 pages now. In this home page, so what we have to do is simply we have to search with the keywords, and in this result page we have to click on the playlist, and in the playlist page we have to simply validate the title of the playlist. Now let's create a simple test inside the E2E folder. So here I will select the new file, and here I'm adding the file name as page object tests.cy.js. That's it, guys. Now here I will add a simple test suite by using the describe keyword, and here I will add the test suite name as page object test suite, and here I will add the arrow function, and then I will open and close the flower brackets. So inside this describe block, I'm creating one test case by using the it block. So here we have to provide the test name. So here I'm adding the test name as page object test1, and followed by that I'm adding a function arrow here, or arrow function you can say. So that's it, guys. Now this is the test what we have created. So this is a simple skeleton of the test suite and test. And now, so here we are performing total 4 steps. In the first step, so we need to navigate to the YouTube. So here I'll say open YouTube, and then so we need to search with the keywords in the youtube.com, search in YouTube. So that's the second step, and we need to click on the playlist. So here I'll say go to playlist, and finally we are validating the playlist title. So that's it, guys. Now, so let's go to the very first page, that is called home page. So here I'm writing one class called home page. That's it. And inside this particular class, so first I will create the elements. Here I will add the elements variables, and here I will assign the all the elements to the elements variable here. So firstly, I will specify the variable name. So we want to firstly save the selector of this particular search text box, and then we want to click on the search icon. So here I am creating total two variables. First one is search text box, and followed by that here I will say colon, and followed by that I will say the arrow function, and then here I will say cy dot get, and inside the get we have to add the selector value. That's it guys, and I will put the comma, and in the similar way we will add the another element called search icon. So here I will say the variable name is search icon. Now let's inspect the search text box, and we will add the selector value here, and also we will inspect the search icon and we will add the selector value over here. That's it. I will go back to the web page now, and I will inspect the element. So it has lots of attributes and values. I'm identifying this element by using the attribute as name. So name is equal to search query. So simply I will copy this particular attribute and value. So I will write attribute and value within the square brackets. So it is highlighting that particular search text box. So simply I will copy the selector and I will paste it inside the get method. Now let's do it similar way for the search icon also. I will inspect the search icon. So if you see here, so if I scroll a little bit up here, right? So we are finding the one button tag. So inside the button we are having the YT hyphen icon. First I will identify this particular button by using the ID, and I will focus on the next tag, that is YT hyphen icon. So I will copy this particular ID. So that is the search icon legacy, and in the XPath I will add the hash followed by ID, and followed by that we want to specify the one tag name called YT hyphen icon. If you see here, so we are able to identify that particular element by using the ID followed by the tag name. Simply I will copy this selector and I will add it inside here. So that's it guys. So we are done with identifying the elements. Now, so here I'm creating one simple method called search in YouTube. And inside this particular method, I will use all these elements. By using these elements, I will perform the action. So firstly here I'll say this. So this refers the current class variables, and followed by that I'm adding the elements. So that is nothing but elements, and dot. So here I'm using the very first element, that is the search text box. And so this is the method. So that's the reason I'm adding the method. So we, by using this particular search text box, we want to enter some data in the search text box. So that's the reason here I'm calling method called type. And here I will add the keyword. So here I'll say API testing by tester stock. That's it guys. Now we need to click on the search icon. In the similar way, I will use the this keyword dot elements dot search icon, and followed by that simply I will add the action as click. I have the element, then I will perform the click operation. That's it guys. So we are done with creating the elements and one abstraction method. So before that we need to navigate to the this youtube.com. So that's the reason I'm adding another abstraction method inside the home page only. So here I'm adding the method name as visit, and inside the visit I'm using the Cypress command cy dot. I'm calling the method called visit. So let's add the URL here. So I will copy the URL and I'll add the URL over here. That's it guys. So we are done with creating a class which has the elements and abstraction methods. Now at the end, what we have to do is, so we need to add the export option, which will return the current page class object. So here I'll say module dot exports, and here we have to assign the current class object. That's it, guys. So we are done with the very first page, that is a home page. So let's do it similarly for the result page and playlist page. So simply I will copy this whole skeleton and I'll paste it inside the result page and playlist page also. So I will come back to the result page first. So here I will rename the class name as result page, and then I will remove all these abstraction methods, and at the end I will specify the class name. So we are passing the current class page object. That's it, guys. So let's identify in the result page, what we have to do is, so we need to say, for example, if I search with API testing by tester stock. So here we are getting the playlist, right? So simply we have to click on this particular playlist. So that's the reason I will inspect this particular playlist. So if I inspect this particular playlist, so inside the span tag, we have multiple attributes and values. So here I'm using the title equal to API testing by tester stock. So I will simply take this attribute and value, and here I will go to the XPath or a CSS selector, and inside the square brackets I will add the attribute and value. So it is highlighting the API testing by tester stock playlist. So simply I will copy this particular selector and I will go back to the VS Code. So here I will simply delete the all this selector, and here I will add the, in the result page I'm adding the variable name, that's the element name as playlist. So we are adding the playlist selector value. So simply I will add the playlist selector value over here. So in this result page, just we need to click on the this particular playlist. That's it, guys. So we have to implement one method, that is, here I'll say go to playlist. So inside this particular go to playlist method, so here I will use this that refers to the current class and elements. Followed by that, I'm using the our selector playlist, and followed by that, simply we have to click on that particular playlist. So that's the reason here I'm calling the playlist, sorry, click method. After clicking on that particular playlist, so simply we have to validate the title of this particular playlist in the playlist page. So here I will go back to the our final page, that is a playlist page. So simply I will delete all this stuff, and here I will update the firstly class name as playlist page, and in the similar way I will return the current page object at the end of the class. And here simply we will inspect the element and we will add the locator over here, and here I will add the variable name as playlist title. That's it, guys. So let's inspect the playlist title. So simply I will inspect the playlist title and I will come over here. So if you look at this particular tag, right, so this is the anchor tag, and if I go a little bit up, so we are having the one div tag which has the header description. So simply I will use this ID, followed by that I will specify the h3 tag, and followed by that I will specify the YT formatted string tag, and then finally I will add the anchor tag. So here I will use the hash followed by the value and then greater than symbol. So here we have to add the h3. So if I hit enter, so right now it is highlighting the element. and followed by that simply I will copy the another tag which is a subtag of the h3. So simply I will add the another tag name, and inside this tag we have the one anchor tag. And if you see here, so right now it is matching with one of one, and also it is highlighting the playlist name. So simply I will copy this particular selector. So we need to validate the this particular playlist title is correct or not. I will go back to the VS Code, and here I will add the selector. That's it, guys. So we are done with creating all the pages. First one, we have created a home page. Second one, we have created a result page. Third one, we have created a playlist page. Now we need to utilize all these pages in the page object tests, right? So here I will go back to the page object tests. So firstly, we need to import all the pages in the top of the JS file. So here I'll say import, followed by that here I will say the reference variable name. So here I'll say home page, and then followed by that you need to add the from keyword. In the single quotation, just add the two dots that refers to the current root folder. Followed by that, we have the E2E folder, and inside the E2E folder we have the pages folder, and inside the pages folder we have the homepage.js class. In the similar way, let's import the another two pages. So here I will say import, then I will say variable name as result page, and followed by that from. In the single quotation, I'm adding two dots, followed by that E2E and slash pages slash result page. Let me add the final import. So we will import the playlist page. So here I'll say playlist page, and then from. In the single quotation, I'm adding the path of the page class. So finally here we have to say playlist page. That's it, guys. So we have created all the pages, and we have imported all the pages in the our automation test in our automation test JS file. So by using the home page, so firstly we need to navigate to the YouTube. If I go to the home page, so here we have written a simple abstraction method, so which is navigating to the youtube.com. So that's the reason I'm using the reference variable of the home page, and here I'm saying visit. So this will go to the youtube.com, and after that we need to search for the keywords. So that abstraction method is implemented inside the home page only. So if you look at here, so here we have implemented one method called search in YouTube. So let's call this particular method by using the homepage object dot search in YouTube. That's it. Now we need to click on the playlist, right? To click on the playlist, we need to use the result page. If you see the result page, so here we have implemented one method called go to playlist. So simply I will use the result page object. Then here I'm calling method called go to playlist. And then finally we need to validate the title of the playlist. So we will add this step a little later. So let's validate the test whether it is working fine or not. Now I will go back to the our Cypress test runner, and I will refresh the page, and I'll come down, and we will select the JS file which we have created just now. If you see here, so we have the page object tests JS file. So let's verify the test, and we will add the validation. So right now tests are loading, so let's wait for some time. If you look at the test suite, right, so it has started executing our test. So again it is got refreshed, it is reloading it. Firstly, it is navigated to the youtube.com. Then it has to search with the API testing by tester stock. So it started entering the keyword and also clicked on the search icon, and also it is going to the particular playlist, right? And also our test is getting passed. So let's verify this title is correct or not. So I will get the title first. I'll copy the title name and in the line number 19. So here I'm using the playlist page which has the our selector. If you look at the page, so this is where we have added the our selector. So by using this selector, we will get the element and we will validate with the expected value. So here I'm using the playlist page dot elements. Inside the elements, we have the playlist title. And then here I'm calling another method called should. So this will validate the text, that is the expected test and the actual test. In the single quotation, so here I'm adding have dot text, basically which will compare the actual and expected result. So here we are adding the expected result also, API testing by tester stock. So this is what the playlist name currently we have. So this time our test should get pass because actual and expected results are matching here. And next time we will pass the incorrect expected value. That time it will fail. So let's rerun the test. So it is started searching in the YouTube with the API testing by tester stock. It is navigated to the playlist. And also you can see our test is getting passed. And also our assertion is also getting passed. Now this time I will pass the incorrect expected value. So here I will say just API testing tester stock. So this time expected and actual value will be not matching and our test will get failed. So like this you can create n number of tests by using the page object model. So right now it is navigated to the youtube.com and it is searching with the API testing by tester stock. It is navigated to the playlist and finally here you can see that. So here we have the assertion failure and here you can see that. So there is a mismatch in the actual and expected value. So this is how you can create the page object model in the Cypress automation testing. In this Cypress video, we are going to see how to record the test execution in the Cypress automation framework. So it is very simple. So we have to set the video flag to true in the Cypress configuration file. And let's do this configuration. And after that, we will execute the one simple automation test in the Cypress and we will validate whether we are able to generate the test execution video or not. So here I will navigate to the VS Code and I will open the cypress.config.js file. So here after the line number 6, I'm adding the one flag called video colon true. That's it guys. So I will close the configuration file and so we will run the data driven testing 2.cy.js file. For this particular data driven test, so we are passing three sets of test data. So these three sets of test data we are passing on to the data driven testing 2.cy.js file. Now we will execute this particular spec file from the command prompt. So simply I will open the command prompt and here I have already navigated to the this particular folder. And here simply you type npx followed by cypress run -- browser and here we have to provide the browser name -- headed. So we are adding -- headed because we want to see the execution in the UI. And followed by that, we have to specify the spec file. And in the double quotes, we have to specify the spec file. So simply I will right click on the JS file, and here I will say copy relative path. That's it. And here I will add the spec file. Then I will hit the enter. So it will opens up the browser and it will start executing the data driven suite. So we are passing three sets of test data. So same test case will run three times. So if you see here, so it is loaded with the three tests. So because of the test data what we are passing from the JSON file. So firstly it is running with the first set of test data. And it is waiting for some time, and it started with the second execution where it is passing the second set of test data. So in my case, internet is a bit slow. That's the reason it is taking a little bit of time. And it started executing the third time, same test case with the third set of test data. Once the execution is completed, we should be able to see the test execution recorded video. So that's it, guys. So if you look at the our command prompt also, so we ran only one spec file which has the three test cases. In the sense, we are passing the three set of test data. And if you see above here, video output. So this is where exactly test execution recorded video is generated. So that is within the our framework Cypress folder, and inside that it has created a videos folder, and inside the videos folder by the spec name we should be able to find the .mp4 video. So if you go to the VS Code, so previously this videos folder was not present, now it has created it. Let's go to the location where exactly it is present. And if I open the videos folder, and here we are having the mp4 video of the test case execution. So let's open the video now. And if you see here, so firstly it is running the test by passing the first set of test data. That's it, guys. So if you see here, if I forward the video, you can see the recording of the data driven testing test case execution. So this is how we can enable the video recording of the test case execution in the Cypress Automation framework. Hi friends, this is Bakappa. Welcome to Cypress full course. You can access all the exercise which we have done in the Cypress full course. You can Google it with Bakappa and GitHub. And here you can go to the tester stock, Bakappa and GitHub, and our repositories. And here search with Cypress. And you will get the Cypress tutorial full course. Go inside that particular repository. And here you can simply click on the code. And by using this URI, you can get the whole repository code in your local machine.